In the headlines, federal government files 13-count charge against coup plotters. Court adjourns El-Rufai's bill application to June. Abia government advances Umahia rail project to boost urban transport. CBN donates suppression system to Kwara Fire Service. On the foreign scene, Brazil's President Lula slams Trump over U.S. rejection of South Africa at G20 summit. And in sports news, Rosanoa dismisses Garnacho's summer exit rumors. Good afternoon and thank you for staying with us on Diamond 88.7 FM Ilorin. This is the news on the hour. I am Bisola Oduwole Suleiman. We'll bring you details of the news after this break. Please stay with us.
We often think that mental health breakdowns sound like this.
I'm emotionally stressed. I'm emotionally downcast. I am so confused of all about life.
But in reality, they can sound like this. Don't make assumptions that people are okay just because they laugh and they smile. Everyone is going through something. Check on your friends and be kind to everyone else.
This message is reaching you from Diamond 88.7 FM Ilorin.
Welcome back from that break. Please note that you can listen to us via our website www.diamondfm.net or watch us live on Facebook at Diamond 87 FM and YouTube Diamond FM Ilorin. Now the news in detail. The federal government has filed a 13-count charge before the Federal High Court in Abuja against 6 individuals, including 2 senior military officers and a 7 police inspector, over an alleged plot to wage war against Nigeria and commit acts of terrorism. The defendants, retired Major General Mohammed Ghana, retired Naval Captain Erasmus Victor, Inspector Ahmed Ibrahim, Zekeri Umoru Bukargoni, and Abdulkadir Sani, are scheduled to be arraigned on Wednesday, April 22, before Justice Joyce Abdul Malik. Also listed in the charge, but said to be at large, is the former Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipre Silva. The presidency has cited the rescue of 13 kidnapped passengers in Benue State and a string of military operations across multiple theaters as evidence that the armed forces are significant and largely unreported progress in the country's asymmetric wars. The special advisor to President Bola Tinubu on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, made the argument in a piece published on Tuesday, contending that isolated incidents of insecurity dominate public discourse while sustained operational gains of the military go unacknowledged. Ononuga also pushed back against what he described as a pattern of selective reporting on Nigeria's security situation, noting that initial media reports had attributed the attack to Fulani bandits, a characterization security sources disputed. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has explained why it will not publicly name the forensic cybersecurity expert who investigated partisan social media posts allegedly linked to its chairman, Professor Joash Amokwiton. The Commission's Director of Information and Communication Technology, Lawrence Bayode, disclosed this on Tuesday, saying the decision was deliberate, given that the case has now been formally handed over to a police unit to avoid impeding the investigation. Bayode stated that INEC had already subjected its findings to multiple layers of technical verification before escalating the matter. The official further explained that the Nigerian Cybercrime Center is responsible for prosecuting cybercrime-related matters and would conduct an independent review of the case. Meanwhile, Justice Dairos Kobo of the Kaduna State High Court has adjourned the bail hearing of former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai to the first week of June 2026. Speaking after the court session, counsel to the former governor, Ukman Akpan, kicked against the lingering adjournment of the bail hearing by one presiding judge as politically motivated. El-Rufai has been arraigned on multiple charges bordering on alleged financial crimes and abuse of office by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC. Still in the news, several terrorists have been reportedly killed following airstrikes by the Nigerian Air Force in the UA axis of the Sambisa Forest in the northeast. The Director of Public Relations and Information, Nigerian Air Force Headquarters, Air Commodore Ehime Jodame, on Tuesday said the airstrikes followed sustained intense pressure on terrorist elements. Following the move, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sunday Aneke, commended Nigerian Air Force for the operation, promising that the Nigerian Air Force will sustain relentless, intelligence-driven air operations until terrorist elements are completely neutralized. The Abia State government has reaffirmed its commitment to modern transportation, urban renewal and housing development, with a proposed railway project in Umuahia forming a key part of its infrastructure drive. The State Commissioner for Information, Oke Kanu, disclosed this on Monday while briefing journalists on the outcome of the State Executive Council meeting presided over by Governor Alex Oti. According to the statement made available to journalists on Tuesday, the governor said discussions between the state government and the Nigerian Railway Corporation had reached an advanced stage for the construction of a new train station in Umuahia. He explained that the facility would be located near the Umuahia Central Bus Terminal and designed as a modern urban rail corridor integrated with commercial and retail activities. And lastly, on the local scene in Kwara State, the Central Bank of Nigeria has donated an FM200 fire suppression system to the Federal Fire Service Kwara State Command to strengthen emergency response capacity and protect critical infrastructure across the state. The development was disclosed in a statement issued on Tuesday by the command's public relations officer, Modibo Ibrahim, who noted that the gesture highlights deepening collaboration among key public institutions to enhance public safety. The equipment was formally handed over during an official visit by the State Controller of the Federal Fire Service in Kwara, ACF, Bakare Mary, to the CBN Kwara State branch, where she led a delegation of senior officers. And that's it on the local scene. The news on the hour is reaching you from Diamond 88.7 FM Ilorin. We take a short break now. When we return, we'll bring you foreign and sports news. In foreign news, Brazil's President Lula slams Trump over U.S. rejection of South Africa at G20 summit. We'll bring you that story after the break and many others. Please stay with us.
Follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Diamond887FM. Diamond FM, shining supreme.
Welcome back from that break. You're still tuned in and listening to the news on the hour, reaching you from Diamond 88.7 FM Ilorin. Before that break, we brought you local stories. Now we move on to the foreign scene. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva on Monday said the United States President Donald Trump had no right to bar South African President Cyril Ramaphosa from attending the upcoming G20 summit in Miami. Speaking in Hanover, Germany, alongside German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, Lula stated that he had encouraged Ramaphosa to attend the summit regardless of the reported U.S. restrictions. Tensions between Ramaphosa and the Trump administration have escalated in recent months. The dispute led to the United States cutting financial assistance to South Africa after Trump accused the government of permitting what he described as a white genocide against the Afrikaner minority, alleging that they were being racially targeted and killed. Still on the foreign scene, a 32-year-old Canadian woman has been killed and 13 people injured after a man opened fire at a historical site in Mexico. According to Mexican officials, the gunman killed himself after the attack. President of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, has expressed her solidarity with the victims of the shooting at one of the country's most important tourist destinations, the ancient pyramid complex of Teotihuacan. While local prosecutors identified the shooter as Julio Cesar Jasso Ramirez, a Mexican national, the Mexican government's security cabinet said 13 people, whose ages range from 6 to 61, had been treated in a hospital after being injured in the incident. That's it in foreign news. Moving into the world of sports, Chelsea's coach Liam Rosenoir has dismissed speculation linking Alejandro Garnacho with a summer exit, questioning the credibility of recent reports and stressing his focus on the player's development. According to Fabrizio Romano on his official X handle on Tuesday, Rosenoir debunked the rumors about the Manchester United winger's future and highlighted his potential and importance to his development at this stage of his career. Rosenoir, however, said his priority remains helping the young winger reach his best level rather than engaging in transfer speculation. Still in sports news, Rangers technical advisor Fidelis Ilechukwu has said it is important for his team to remain humble as they continue their pursuit of a ninth Nigeria Premier Football League NPFL title. Recall that the Flying Antelopes returned to the summit after a thrilling 2-1 victory over Eyimba at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium in Enugu on Sunday. Having a 1-point lead over second-placed Rivers United, Rangers have 3 games remaining before the end of the campaign. Ilechukwu, however, declared that they can't afford to take things for granted at this stage of the season, even as they will be away to Bayelsa United this weekend. And that's it in the world of sports. With that, we've come to the end of the news on the hour for today. But before we go, here is a recap of the major highlights. Federal government files 13-count charge against coup plotters. Court adjourns El Rufai's bail application to June. Abia government advances Umahia rail project to boost urban transport. CBN donates suppression system to Kwara fire service. On the foreign scene, Brazil's President Lula slams Trump over U.S. rejection of South Africa at G20 summit. And in sports news, Rosenoir dismisses Garnacho's summer exit rumors. And those are the major headlines that's brought to you this afternoon. Before we wrap up the news, we take a look at our Today in History segment. Did you know that on this day in the year 1925, the foundation stone for the current Cathedral Church of Christ in Marina, Lagos was laid by the Prince of Wales? Now you know. For news coverage or information about happenings around you, kindly contact the Diamond FM newsroom number on 091-606-27526. Join us at 3 p.m. for the news flash and at 5 p.m. for the news across the world for a comprehensive bulletin. The news on the hour was put together by Nedu Okorie. I am Bisola Oduwole Suleiman. Thank you for listening to your shining supreme station. Please stay tuned for the news in Yoruba coming up shortly. Good afternoon.